Hello, dear ones. Reverend Beth Simmons here on this very hot day in New Hampshire. We've got a heat advisory going on, and I know if you are watching this from somewhere that is not New England, you're probably like, oh, those New Englanders, they don't know how to deal with heat. And you are right. We do not know how to deal with heat. Many of us do not have air conditioning. And the humidity is just terrible. We're cold weather people. And this is not our thing. So we're all moaning and groaning. But, because we're New Englanders, we pretty much complain about all the weather except for the 2 weeks in October that it's perfect. So, take that with a grain of salt. But anyway, here I am on a midweek moment. These have been a little sporadic lately. And if this is something that feeds you, I apologize. But, life has been like that, and I'm trying to roll with it. But what I wanted to come here and talk about this week, this second week of July, was spiritual practice and deepening spiritual practice. I was thinking about training our spiritual selves to encourage or strengthen our spiritual health. Despite the heat and the humidity and the deer fly population explosion that is happening, I went for a run this morning. I have found that running is great for my mental health as well as my physical health, and so I've been picking that up. And I really didn't want to go, but I know that that's something I need to do, and that I need to practice two things. The first is consistency. So even on days when I don't feel like it, I go. That doesn't mean I don't have rest days or breaks when life gets in the way. But over the course, consistency is key. Do it anyway. Do it most days, or some sort of rhythm, schedule, consistent practice of running. The second is that there needs to be an increase of challenge at a certain point. So once you get good, or it's easy to run 2 miles, well, you may want to increase your distance or try to increase your pace somehow. That's a physical example. If you're not a runner, use that with something else, right? You increase the difficulty of your baking. You start with chocolate chip cookies from the Toll House chip bag recipe, and then maybe you eventually work your way up a little bit. Once you get that down, you get add some challenge, right? This is what we do. So I find this is often not true with our spiritual lives and our spiritual practices. We tend to sort of get into a rut rather than a routine, if we have one at all. So sort of counterbalancing the two ways of growth, which is consistency and challenge, we either are very inconsistent with our spiritual practice, so we don't attend worship services very often, we are not part of a community of practice or a community of faith, spirituality. We don't individually have any kind of spiritual routine, training, practice that we do on a regular basis. We do it here or there for, once or twice. We let it fall, try to pick it up again, it goes away again. Maybe New Year's resolutions get picked up, and we, we're going to pray every day, or we're going to read the whole Bible, and then it just goes away. And totally, by the way, I'm calling myself out on this one. But I think it's important, just as it is for running or cooking or whatever it is, in order to grow, we need consistency and challenge. So, on this hot summer day, as you know, as we're feeling a little, maybe the lazy, hazy days of summer here, creeping in upon us, I'm gonna offer a challenge to you, or invitation, if challenge is a little too much for summer. A little more relaxed. Invitation to do a little reflection, self-reflection on your spiritual life and your spiritual practice and the training of your spiritual self. See if you can increase your consistency. And if you're already consistent in one spiritual practice, you might want to add something. But then that leads to the other one. See if you are, start with consistency. If you're not already consistent, pick something you can be consistent with. Meditate for 5 minutes a day. 5 minutes is not that long. 2 minutes. If you can't do 5 minutes, 2 minutes. Read 3 lines of scripture a day. Pray for 5 people. Read 10 pages of a theological or church related or some sort of spiritual growth book, or listen to 20 minutes of it on an audiobook, or watch a sermon from some other congregation or church or practice that is unfamiliar to you. You get the idea. Pick something that will be your consistent. It doesn't have to be daily. Daily is great because it helps build the habit a little faster, but it doesn't have to be. If you don't consistently go to church or go to a worship service, make that your practice. And if Sunday mornings don't work for you, find a congregation that has some kind of gathering at a different time or day, or do it online when you can. Watch the sermon. For instance, watch our sermons on YouTube whenever is convenient for you. And then once you've reached the point of consistency, or if you are already at a point of consistency, challenge yourself somehow. Maybe increase the amount of time that you meditate. Increase your frequency of prayers. Increase the amount you're reading the Bible. Increase the challenge of what you are reading. Something really far out of your comfort zone, or something you have frequently tried to understand. Set up your own Bible study or join a Bible study if you have one available. And if, hey, folks who are in Hancock, if you are interested in some kind, like, I really want to do a study on this book or a Bible study on this topic, reach out to me. Let's see what we can make happen. And we can even do it virtually. If you're not in Hancock and you would be interested in doing a Zoom one, let me know. We can do this. And yeah, so consistency and challenge. Do those 2 things. This is my invitation to you in this summer. And maybe do it in a hammock or on a porch, or if you've got it, in a nice, cool, air-conditioned room. And if you don't, get one of those good church fans. They're pretty handy. All right, friends, have a wonderful rest of your week. And if you are in Hancock, I would love to see you at 9:45 a.m. on Sunday in the sanctuary. We don't have church fans, but we probably should. We have overhead fans. Bring a fan, maybe. It's supposed to be still a little toasty. And we're going to be welcoming new members to our congregation, and we'll be commissioning and blessing 2 folks who are going with a delegation to Zimbabwe next week. It's going to be a wonderful spirit-filled service, so I really invite you to join us. And if you're not near Hancock, the sermon will be posted online early in next week. All right, I'll see you soon. Bye, friends.